Okay, so I hope all of you seen this curriculum uh, on the Spring Boot backend development. Um as you can see that uh, we have a session, okay, starts from 1 and ends with 24, but we will be doing 20 sessions, okay. So on each session, it will be 2 to 2.5 hours. So on a daily basis, I will be covering these topics. Okay. So I will starts from the core Java. I hope by this time you already know this core Java, or how, what is your understanding of the core Java? All of you are currently working, or what is your background, guys? Can anyone speak? You guys completed the DSA, or how? Can someone speak?
So we finished our DSA and system design classes,
Okay.
and we're into
Okay.
specialization. Yeah.
Okay. Great, great. Okay, since you guys completed DSA and system design, see, initially today and the next session, okay, so I will be covering some of the, the core Java concepts, and okay, probably on the third session we will start with the Java new features, okay. So after that, we'll start with threads and multi-threading, okay. So then once we completed that, okay, maybe by fourth class or fourth session, so we'll start with the Maven. um, I will explain to you regarding that Maven, okay, how to configure the Maven to a project, okay. So what are the profiles we can use in Maven. So after that, we'll start with the Spring Framework. In Spring Framework, we'll understand what is dependency injections, okay, and we'll understand regarding the core Spring Framework, okay. So after that, we'll start with the Spring Boot concept. Okay, so once you understand that, then we jump into the Spring MVC. Okay, so what we will do, we will create APIs. So for that APIs, we'll use the Postman to test it. Okay, so once you understand that, then I will we will also go through Spring AOP. Okay, JDBC and Hibernate. So what we will do initially, I will be explaining you the core Spring and also Hibernate. So once we completed that, uh, there will be a minor project. Then also we will be working on unit testing. So what we do, whatever the APIs we create, right? So for that, we will test it with writing the unit test cases. Okay, and also we will also working on Redis and caching. So this is I will explain to you how you can for the API, if you want to store it in some caching, how we can do it. Okay, how to store it, how to fetch the values from the cache using Redis. Okay, so then I will also cover Spring security. Okay, authorization, authentication. Okay, so how you can define the roles, user role, admin role. Okay, so how we can define that. Okay, so there will be a guest URLs, okay, or some URLs will be restricted, right? So basically authentication and authorization part I will cover in the Spring security topic. Okay, so then we will also use OAuth 2. So in OAuth 2, it is not every user can register to the system, right? Sometime what we do, we'll have an option login as a with the Gmail or Bitbucket, right? I mean GitHub, like that. So how we can implement OAuth 2 into the project? Okay. So then once we completed all the Spring Boot, Spring Hibernate, okay, and all of this. Then once you guys familiar with RESTful services, okay, then we'll start with the microservices part. So in microservices part, I will also explain to you what is the difference between monolithic architecture and microservices. And we will create multiple microservices, and I will explain to you how one microservices can interact with another microservice. Okay. Uh, in case in case of failure, how you can handle any microservice. Okay. So there you will understand consumers and producers also. So once you familiar with the microservices part, then we will be working on the Kafka as well. Okay. Like what we can do, we can configure Kafka with Spring Boot. I will explain to you when we have to use Kafka, what are the advantages of the Kafka. Okay. So then what we do, we will build a project. So in the last, I will also give you some understanding of React also. We'll not covering React from the scratch. So yes, of course, I will be covering a bit, but mainly our focus will learning on the backend part. The front end at the last four session, okay, 16 classes, I will complete all till microservices and Kafka. 16 to 20, what we can do, we can build a project. So in that, what I will do, I will show you how you can integrate React, we can call APIs from React to front end to the back end part. So how you can make it. So build one project. Okay. So on that. So this is the course structure we have. Okay. So on the daily basis, so every day there will be a session. So once we completed that, then what we do? So there is a kind of a FAQ session. Okay. So here we will solve some of the important interview questions. So every day there will be 10 to 20 questions we will cover. Okay. So once I will explain the concept. So at the last, what we can do, we can solve some of the interview questions as well. Okay. So that is the agenda. And yeah, so as you know, my name is Tejesh. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Tejesh. So I have around 10 years of experience in technical training. So currently working as a technical trainer for one of the big MNC. Okay. So already I worked in abroad also. I worked in China. Okay. I have delivered sessions in Dubai, Bahrain. Okay. So this is my background. Okay. From last 10 years, I'm training participants on Java. Okay. QA and various other technologies. Okay, this is my second batch for Tutort. So yeah, this is about me. And yeah, and during this session, I want everybody to interact with me. Okay, so whatever the doubts you have, okay, feel free to speak. Okay, it's not like one-way communication. Okay, so all of you can speak in the session. I don't mind. Okay, so I will get a good company when you guys are speaking. Okay, so it will be good for me. Okay, so whatever it is there, you can talk to me. I just want to understand, before I start the core Java, I need to understand what is the level of understanding of core Java. Okay, so based on that, I will prepare the materials and I will come to the session. So I just want to understand, are you guys already working as a developer, or like what is your background?
I'm working as a developer, but I'm not working with Java as such. I'm currently working as a C sharp developer.
C sharp. Okay,
Yeah.
great, great, great. Others are any freshers or someone is there like that? This is the first time you guys seeing the Java code, something like that?
Yes, sir. Actually, my name is Raj, and currently I'm working as an AI and robotics teacher in a school. So for me, this is a fresher job.
Hey, hi Raj. Okay, so that's great. Anyone is already working on a Java project as a developer, or this is the first time? Like, okay, so for everybody, it is like a kind of a new, which mean I have to go from the scratch. Okay, that's great. No problem. We'll go from the scratch only. Okay. Uh, so now, okay. So let's start. Okay. So today agenda is, let me. Okay, and one more thing. Okay, so see, every day there will be a sessions, right? So every day I will teach you the concept, right? Yeah.
So just to clarify, when you mean every day, is it weekends or daily? Because I didn't get this.
Weekends. I mean, every day means weekend. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay, thank
weekends.
you.
Yeah. So yeah, on a daily basis, I will be covering these topics, right? So now, what I recommend you is like, okay. So initially, like 2, 3 sessions are fine because I will be taking you to the core Java and I will be explaining. Okay. So once we start with the advanced Java part, which is the Spring Boot. Okay. So I want everybody to practice. Okay, because so we will follow kind of a practical based approach to learn. Okay, so basically we will be building the project while we are learning. Okay, so for example, total I think you will get like 2 to 3 projects. Okay, 3 projects we will be doing. Okay, so I want like on a daily basis. Okay, during the session you will learn. Okay, so maybe weekdays. Okay, spend some time. Okay, few hours. Okay, build those projects and come back, so it will be more effective for you. Okay, so like whatever I do in the session, please practice it and come back, so that you will be get good grip. And also I will give you project ideas also, like for example, we will build 3 projects, right? So initially one project on Spring Boot, then there will be a microservices project as well. Okay, so and at the last there will be major project. Like once you completed all of these projects, I will give you project ideas, so you can actually if you follow whatever I do during the session, you will be in a very good position to develop the projects by your own. Okay, I can give you a project ideas, so based on the project idea you can build your own project. Okay, so maybe like it can be very useful. You can put it in your resume. You can explain to the interviewer how that particular project you have done. Okay, so like that. So basically I want everybody to at least from day 3 or day 4, like when we start the Spring Core or Spring Boot project. Okay, so please build the project. Okay, so that it will be more effective. Like if you are not practicing, if you are directly coming to the session, okay, then it will be difficult for you. But if you are building a project on a daily basis, it will be very it is very easy for you to understand the concept. Okay, okay. So today our agenda is I will give you some introduction about Java, and I will briefly explain to you the architecture of the JVM. Okay, and we'll start from the OOPS concept. I will explain to you inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation. Okay, so all these topics. Okay, so session 1 and session 2 topics I will be covering. Okay, let's try to complete. Okay, core Java concepts. So once I completed that, so what I will do, there will be a FAQ session at the end. Okay, so I will be asking you the question. Okay, it's not like I'm judging you. Okay, so you can actually like I want everybody to participate in that. Okay, so in the FAQ session, like it will actually give you confidence. Okay, so once you completed the session, and if I take you to the this particular FAQ session, it will boost your confidence. Okay, so on a, let's say like 20 FAQs if you are solving, like 20 into 20, right? You like approximately 400 questions, right? So like that we will be solving that. So yeah. Okay, so before we start the session, so anyone want to speak to me, or any concerns, any question, you can feel free to ask. Okay, no questions. So mainly the tools you have to install is of course Eclipse. Uh, we can also use IntelliJ also. Okay, so both we will use. Okay, for maybe off-way we can use Eclipse, and off-way we can use IntelliJ. And also once I start the Spring Boot, I want everybody to install MySQL. Okay, MySQL as a server. And of course the Postman to test the API. Okay, Postman, Eclipse, IntelliJ, MySQL. Okay, these are all the some of the important tools. Apart from that, we have few more, but like I will tell you. Okay, before the session starts, I will tell you like like what other tools we needed. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. So yeah, so as you know, Java is a programming language and a platform, and it is a high level, robust. It also support object oriented programming language, and also it is very secured because of JVM. And so basically a platform means any hardware or a software environment in which the program runs. Okay. So as you know, Java is a programming language like any other programming, like C++, Python. Okay. So Java is a programming language. Okay. Uh, and Java is also a platform. Okay. If you take few programming languages, okay, such as Python, not Python, like a PHP and all. Like, so it's a programming language, but you can only run it like to develop the software application. But Java code is there, right? It will run on both software and hardware platform as well. So software, if you want to develop applications such as banking application, right? So any browser, any application you open through browser, right? HTTP www.facebook.com, Instagram, right? Or any banking application, insurance application, right? So you can use Java code. And also hardware also it will run. Okay. So you guys use smart, right? Smart devices such as a smart TV or maybe a tablet or anything. Okay. Even washing machine also, some of the washing machines also. Okay. So they have a Java code internally running. So Java code can be run on both on software and hardware. So that's why Java is a programming language and a platform. Okay, so some of the features of Java. Java is very simple, and simple because the syntax is based on C++. Okay, so it is not like mandatory. First, you have to learn C++, then you need to learn Java. It's not like that. So mainly, if you know C++, it will be easy for you to understand. But even if you don't know, that is also fine if you are learning for the first time. So next thing is like object oriented. Okay, so we will be having like object classes. So and also it will support the concepts like inheritance, polymorphism. So in upcoming session, I will be explaining to you one by one each topic. So and also platform independent. So in Java, so what we do, I will explain to you how the Java code will compile. Okay. So then you will understanding like how exactly Java code can be converted into the bytecode, and it can be executed. So because of the bytecode, so bytecode you can carry to any of the platform and you can execute it. Okay. So due to that, it's a platform independent. And Java is secured. Java is secured because of, if you are a C++ developer, so there we will use something called as pointers and all. Okay. So here we have a JVM. JVM will actually take care of the memory management. Okay. Java is very secured. Most of the enterprise application, okay, banking, insurance, so all these sectors currently they using Java. Okay, because of it is very secured and interpreted. Okay, so in Java we will do both interpretation and compilation. Okay, so you will understand how the interpretation will work in Java, and also it's a high performance. Okay, it give you good performance. Okay, so any program you take, okay, so it have their own advantages and disadvantages. So Java is very secured. So mainly we will use to develop the enterprise application. Okay, so Java you can also use to develop gaming also. Okay, and also you can use to develop Android applications as well. Okay, so mainly uh, like we can use the Java code, okay, to do many multiple things. Okay, so we will be learning how to develop web application in this training. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the features of Java: simple, object oriented, platform independent, and very secured, interpreted, and it will gives you good performance. Okay. Okay.
So a quick
Yes, tell me.
question here. So
Yes,
I
sir.
do understand what platform independence is. I mean, I could say the same for Python, right? But what do you
Uh,
mean when you say Java is a platform? So I'm not understanding the difference.
See, there are two things. Okay, a platform is basically like uh, um, l- uh, we have a software applications and hardware applications, right? So we have different programming languages, but Java, you can use it in both hardware and software. Okay, but there are programming languages you can use it only to develop only few things. Okay, for example, PHP is there. PHP is there to develop only the software applications, but not to you can run the code in a hardware device. Okay, so Java you can also use it in embedded devices as well. Okay, so like that you can integrate on both software and hardware platform. Okay, hardware devices. So that is the platform. Okay, so yeah, regarding the compilation, see, there are two phases you can execute the Java code. Okay, so the first phase is, so we have to write the Java program. Okay, then we have to give to the compiler. So once we give to the compiler, what is it will do? Java code can be converted to the bytecode. Okay, so then we can use the JVM to execute. Okay, so let's understand how Java code you can execute. Okay, so now to understand this, I have written one small program. Uh, let me open in the notepad. Okay, so now you can see that I have created a class here called as hello. Okay, so here you can see that I have written system.out.println hello world. Okay, so I have written a program here. Okay, so now what I will do, I will explain to you how Java compilation will work. Okay, so first we have to write the Java program by using like valid syntax. So what do you mean by syntax? Syntax is like a set of rules. So for example, if you open a curly brace, we have to close it. Okay, like when you write a statement, you have to terminate with the semicolon. Okay, so these are all the some of the syntax we have to follow. Okay, so the first rule is, okay, we follow the syntax and we write the Java code. Okay, so then what we have to do, we have to give to the compiler. Okay, so now what I will do, I will give to the compiler. So now I will open the command prompt. See, this is the Java file. Okay, so now what I will do, I will open the command prompt. So now what I will do, I will type first command is Java C. Okay, Java C is Java compiler. Then I will give the hello.java. Okay, so I'm doing the compilation now and I will click on enter. Okay, so now what happened was, you see that there is a bytecode. Okay, so this is actually bytecode. So if I open this one in the notepad, okay, so it is a bytecode actually. It will be in the format of like a numeric. Okay, we are not able to understand. Okay, so this is actually a bytecode. Okay, so first we have a Java compiler. When we give to the compiler, Java compiler will convert Java code to the bytecode. Okay, so now what I will do, this bytecode, if you want to execute, then we can give to the JVM. Okay, so to give to the JVM, I will type Java. Okay, so then I will type the class name. So what is the class name we have? That is hello. Okay, hello. See, now what happened? The Java code got executed like hello. Okay, so this is actually the execution. So the execution will first, what we have to do. Yeah, so we have written a Java program, then we give to the compiler. So what is it compiler will do? Compiler will convert our Java code to the bytecode. Okay, so now this bytecode uh, we have given to the JVM. So JVM will convert our bytecode to the binary code. So binary code means it will be in the format of zeros and ones. Okay, okay. So now what exactly will happen at uh, JVM? Okay, So in JVM, I will explain to you in detail. So JVM, it actually loads, I mean, when we give it to the JVM, we have a class loader which helpful for to load the Java class. Okay, then then bytecode verifier, interpreter, runtime, hardware. So I will explain to you in detail how JVM actually converts the bytecode into binary code. Okay, so we will be working on this Java architecture part. So there I will explain to you how the Java code can be executed. Okay. Okay. So now some of you like familiar with JDK, JRE, and JVM, right? So can anyone tell me what is the difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM? Anyone? Okay, nobody knows about this concept. Very important question. What is the difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM? Okay, so let me explain to you. Okay, in the easiest way, so that you will understand this concept forever. Okay, see JDK, JRE, JVM. Okay, first let me start with the JRE. JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment. Okay, Java Runtime Environment. So now JRE, if you want to run the Java program, okay, if you want to run the Java program, so JRE is sufficient. Okay, JRE is used to run the Java program. So if you want to know the high level of the JRE, which mean, see, you have developed the application as a developer, right? Now you need to install that software and you have to run it, okay, in a client machine. Okay, you have developed the application, you just need to run the application in a client machine. Then what you need is the JRE. Okay, to run the Java program we need the JRE. Okay, now we have a JDK. Okay, the name itself we have Java Development Kit, JDK. Now, this is for the developer. As a developer, you have to install JDK in your machine. So, what does JDK contain? JDK contains a JRE. Okay, JDK internally contains JRE. It also contains no debuggers. Okay, or libraries. Okay, so as a developer, okay, if you want to develop a Java application, you have to install JDK. Okay, Java Development Kit. To do the Java development, whatever as a developer you needed, whether it can be compiler, debuggers, okay, libraries. So everything will be provided. Okay, so that is JDK, Java Development Kit. Okay, so next thing is a JVM. So as I told you, JVM, Java Virtual Machine, like it will help you to convert your bytecode to binary code. Okay, so it will actually execute your program, okay, in the system, that is JVM. So JDK and JRE both are physically exist, which mean if you go to the program file in C drive program file, whenever you install Java in your machine, so both JDK and JRE. Okay, so if you want to show you, I can show you that. You can go to the C drive and you can go open this program files. In program files, see Java is there. Okay, so JDK. Okay, so JRE also, if you are installing JRE folder will be there. So both the JDK and JRE both are physically exist. Okay, but JVM will be there, right? You are not able to see it. Okay, any directory like that, but JDK and JRE are physically exist. Okay, so now what is the difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM? So as a Java developer, if you want to develop the application, okay, so what you need to install? JDK. Okay, so now let's say if you want to run the Java application, okay, in a client machine, okay, so what you need is the JRE. Okay, you just need to run the application. So for that, JRE is needed. So now JVM is there. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. So Java Virtual Machine, what it will do, once the compilation will happen, right? So next, what will happen? We give to the JVM. So JVM will convert your bytecode to binary code, which will be in 0s and 1. So basically, if you want to execute the program, okay, so for that, or memory management, so for that, JVM is needed. Okay. So any questions in JDK, JRE, and JVM? Any questions you can ask? Okay. Okay, so this and I've explained JDK, JRE, and JVM. Please remember in the last there will be a FAQ session. Okay, so you have to answer all of this. Okay, so then we have like a JVM architecture. Okay, so very important. See, this is the actually architecture of the JVM, right? So JVM is actually a Java virtual machine. Okay, so where we are executing our bytecode. Okay, so now, so what does it actually JVM will do? It actually loads your code, verifies the code, execute the code, and provides the runtime environment. Okay, so these are all the operations which performed by the JVM. Okay, so see how exactly you did that. I mean, currently what we did Java C and Java. So what happened? Bytecode come, right? Then we did java.hello.java. So then after that, what happened? You were able to see the result, right? But how exactly it is happening in internally? So internally, how it is happening means, so first we have a class loader. Okay, so class loader is there. It help you to actually load your class. Okay, so let's understand this class loader now. So then below that we have the memory areas. Okay, so class area, heap area, stack area, okay, PC register, native method interface, like that. So I will explain to you in detail. Okay, I will also talk about the execution engine and native method interface. Okay, so I will explain to you this one currently now. Okay, so the first one is the class loader. Okay, so first one is the class loader. So what will happen is the class loader will be there, right? It actually loads, links, and initialize the Java code. Okay, so now uh, how exactly it will work? Okay, so I will give you like a one real time example. Okay, so let's say you have a delivery boy. Okay, so delivery boy brings the parcel to your house when you order them. Okay, a delivery boy is there. He will bring the parcel to the house when you order them. So basically, class loader is just like a delivery boy. So what it will do, it will bring the class file, okay, which it has to load. Okay, that is actually a class loader. Okay, class loader is just like a delivery boy. It actually brings the order to you. Okay, so like that. So class loader, which actually used to load the class files into the JVM. Okay, so that is what the class loader it will do. Okay, so now we have a memory areas such as class area, heap area, okay, stack, program, counter, register. So like that. So these are all the some of the memory areas we have. Okay, so the first one is the class area. So class area, for example, when you execute the Java program, right? So we will be having a variables. Okay, so static variables, okay, uh, or yeah, especially if you want to store the class static variable, so the memory will be stored in the class area. So don't worry, I will explain to you when I explain the static variable. That time I will explain to you how exactly what is the use of the static variables and how exactly it can be used. Okay, so class area to store the static variables. Okay, so heap, we have heap is like, okay, objects. Okay, whenever you create the objects, the memory will be stored in the heap. Okay, for objects, memory will be stored in the heap. So then we have a stack area. So for the stack area, for example, if you want to store the local variables, okay, and when you do the method calls, it will be a stack area. Okay, class area for static variables, heap area for objects. Then we have a stack area. In the stack area, what will happen? Here, it will be a the local variables or methods calls. Okay, so you can actually do it in the stack area. So next you have like program counter register. So it is like address of the Java virtual machine. Okay. So for example, if I want to give you one real-time example, see whenever you are reading the book, right? So what you do, for example, let's say you read book for like 10 pages, right? So for example, if you want to read remaining things tomorrow, what you do, you fold that particular page, right? So it actually the program counter register, it actually keep track of the current instruction. Okay. So it actually holds the address of the Java virtual machine. Okay. Instruction currently being executed. Okay. So it is like a kind of it is like a bookmark in a book. Okay. So that is actually a program counter register. Okay. So first we have a class area where static variables will be stored, heap area where objects will be stored, stack area where local variables will be stored. Then it actually kind of a address book. Program count register is like a address book. So where it actually gives you the what is the current instruction is currently being executed. Okay. It actually have a address of that particular code. Okay. So like that, we have a class area, heap area, stack, program counter, register. Okay. These are some of the memory areas we have. So you don't have to worry now, because each time when I create object or whenever I create a static variable, uh, I will execute the programs and I will explain to you one more time. So on each level, how the values you can actually store it. Okay. So first, what will happen when you load the class file into the Java. Okay. So then the memory area will be created. Okay. So if you have a static variable, class area, objects will be heap area. Similarly, if you have a local variable, it will be in the stack area. Okay. So like that. Okay. So we loaded the class, we got the memory. Okay. So then next what will happen? So next what will happen is uh, we have something called as interpreter. Then we have something called as JIT compiler. Okay. Then we have a garbage collector. See, currently what happened was we have a class loader. Then we have seen all of this, right? Class area, heap area, stack and register. Then we have a execution engine. In this execution engine, what will be there? There will be interpreter. So interpreter, what it will do? It will actually checks line by line, like that it will check. Okay. So that is actually interpreter. So if you are like familiar with Python, in Python, what will happen? Only interpretation will happen, right? So Python is an interpreted language. Like the lines will be executed one after another, one after another. It will actually execute like that. Okay. So Python is actually a interpretation language. But in Java, both interpretation and compilation both will happen. Okay. Interpretation and compilation both will happen. Now we have a interpreter and we have just-in-time compiler. Now, what is exactly the difference between interpreter and just-in-time compiler? See, we have an interpreter, right? So what it will do, it actually uh, execute the program like a line by line, right? So now what will happen? Like let's say if you written like 10,000 lines, right? Like it has to execute one by one, one by one, one by one, like that. It has to execute. So obviously sometime what will happen, there are method you can call multiple times, right? So multiple times it has to call. So obviously the process will become very slow. So for that, what happened was there is something called as just-in-time compiler. So this just-in-time compiler, what it will do, it is just like for example, if you execute any line of a code, what it will do, it will be temporarily stored in some memory area. So next time you need the same thing. Okay, it will get you. So just-in-time compiler, it is actually useful to improve the performance. Okay, so for that we will be using the just-in-time compiler. Okay, repeatedly, if your any executed line is there, right? So that will be stored, and whenever if you want to reuse, this actually gives you, okay, just-in-time compiler. So interpreter checks line by line. Just-in-time compiler, it is actually improvise the performance. So then we have a garbage collector. Okay, so garbage collector is like a like unused objects will be there. Okay, so it actually free up the memory. Okay, see, for example, if you go to a restaurant, okay, I will take you one example of a restaurant. So in a restaurants, when you go, so initially what it will do, somebody will bring you the plate, right? Like so just like that. So what will happen is like a class loader will be there. Okay, so that actually loads your code. Then what will happen, memory areas and everything will be there. Okay, so then interpreter will be there. It actually execute line by line, line by line, like that it will execute. Then just in time compiler is there. Okay, repeatedly executed programs, it will actually store in that, and actually it will improves, right? So now once the executes, right, then what will happen? There will be a garbage collector. So garbage collector is something like, for example, in a restaurants, once you completed eating, then you have a servant to clean the dishes, right? Similarly, we have a garbage collector. So what it will do? Removes unused objects from the heap, okay, to free the memory. So that is actually a garbage collector. Okay, so like that. So loads memory area, then interpretation, okay, then we have a just in compiler. Then once the executed, then garbage collector actually removes the unused objects. Okay, last we have is Java native interface, JNI. So this is like, see, we write the Java programs, right? So I will give you one example. I will work in one MNC. So what we did is we have written our product in two programming language. Okay, two programming language we have written. So we have written in Java, and also there are some code we have written in C++. For example, Java code is there, right? It has to interact with different programming languages, okay, such as C++. Then we have like this JNI, Java Native Interface. It actually help you to interact with the other programming languages such as C++ and all. So for that, okay, so this Java native interface, it will help you to interact with different programming languages. Okay, so see, this is actually the architecture of the JVM. So you don't have to worry now, because if you are a beginner, I will explain to you. Okay, so when we create an object, or when I create a static variable, I will explain to you in practical, so that you will understand better. Okay, so for now, what you need to do, first we have a class loader, then we have a memory areas. Below that, there is a engine. So in that engine, what we have is a interpreter and JIT compiler we have. So then we have a garbage collector. Then the last one is the Java native interface. Okay, this is the architecture. So any questions you can feel free to ask in the architecture.
Hi, what is
Yeah.
the importance of garbage collector? I mean, it comes in a lot of programming languages.
See, a garbage collector, you don't have to do. Okay, so JVM will be there, right? So JVM will take care of unused memory and all. For example, you created some variables. Okay, so for that you are not using anything. So garbage collector is useful to clean up the memory. Okay, so internally it will happen. But in Java we have some methods. You can actually call it. Explicitly also, if okay, so that we will see. Okay, so for that we will be using something like a finalize method and all will be there. If you want to call it, you can call it. So garbage collector is actually, it's a part of a JVM. It is used to remove like unused memory. Okay, so that is actually a garbage collector. So you don't have to do anything. The JVM will take care of that. But you can also call explicitly if you want to call the garbage collector. That is also possible. Okay, in upcoming session, I will also explain to you if you want to call the that garbage collector explicitly, how we can call it. We can.
Okay.
I can show you that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So now we have seen the JVM architecture and we understand one by one. Okay. Okay. So now I don't want to explain to you that the variables and other thing, because by this time you are like familiar with some of the data types, right? I hope you are also comfortable in working with writing if-else statements, switch statements, and uh, other things, right? So guys, do you want me to execute those programs also? Because by this time you guys are familiar with that, right? But I will just do the recap. Okay. Okay. See, in data types, we will be having non-numeric type and numeric type. Okay. For example, like if you have a numbers and all, right? So what you can do, you can apply byte, short, int, long, float, double, like that. Then in non-numeric, which is character, boolean. In boolean, you can define true or false. Then we have a character, right? So then we have a non-primitive. In non-primitive, string, arrays. Okay. So all this will comes under non-primitive. So data type, there are two types, primitive and non-primitive. In primitive, again, we have like a total uh, 8. Okay. So that is byte, short, int, long. Okay. Boolean, char, float, double. In non-primitive, we'll be having string arrays like that. Okay, so this is very important question. What do you know about Java data type like that? There will be a question. You can tell them there will be a primitive and non-primitive. In primitive, there are total 8 types. Okay, so you have to remember this. Okay, Boolean, char, byte, short, int, long, float, and double. See, each will have its own size. Okay, so each data type it having a size. Okay, for example, if you want to store a small digits, okay, like let's say 128. Okay, like below 128, if you want to store any digits and all, you can store it in byte, right? So like that, if you have like a big numbers, you can store it in integer. Okay, so for example, if you are dealing with any some kind of decimal points, then you can use this floating point and all. So like that, we have a primitive, non-primitive. In total primitive, we have 8 data types like that. Okay, so variables are there. So variables, total 3 we have. Okay, so one is local variable, instance variable, and static variable. So now what is local variable? Are variables which are declared inside the method. Okay, variables which are declared inside the method. Okay, so the scope of the local variable is there only for that particular method. That is local variable. Then we have a instance variable. So the instance variable, the variables which are declared outside the method but inside the class. Okay, outside the method but inside the class. That is actually instance variable. Then we have a static variable. So static variable also, it's like a instance variable only. Okay. I will talk about more on the static variable when I explain the static part. That time I will explain to you. Okay, if you have a static, you can apply with variables, you can apply with methods, right? You can apply with the blocks. Okay, I will talk more on this part. Okay. Okay, so first understand local variables which is declared inside the method. Okay, scope will be there only for the block, but instance variable, variables which is declared inside the class but outside the method, scope will be there like a entire class. Okay, that is instance variable. A variable which is declared as a static, which is a static variable. So I will talk more on the static variable in the upcoming slides.
Is static
Okay.
variable like
Ha.
a global variable, like the in
Ha, it is
Python?
also instance variable. I will tell you here what will happen is, uh, I will talk about this because For example, if you want to store employee information, okay, employee information. Now, what all the things are common? For example, uh, now first, what all the things which is not common? Not common is like employee IDs will be different for each employee, right? Then employee name will be different. Okay. So what we can do, you can store it in object. But let's say company name. When we have a company name, you don't have to define it in object. What you can do, you can actually store it in the static variable. Don't worry. Today, end of the session, you are able to understand what is the static variable. When object having common properties, we will define in static variable. Okay, which mean employee is there for all the employee. Which one is common? Company name is common for everyone. So what we will do, we will store it in a static variable. Don't worry. This I will execute the program so that you will
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so then we have operators. So in operators, we have arithmetic operator, arithmetic operators like plus, I mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So then we have unary operators, unary like a post, pre, okay, plus plus, minus minus, right? You can do with the unary operator. Assignment operator, okay, double equals, not equals, all right. Then relational operators, okay, in relational operator you can check uh, like uh, like greater than or equal to, lesser than or equal to, relational. Then we have a logical operator, okay, logical and, logical or, okay, ternary operator, okay, where we have like a question mark, colon, we can use it as a ternary operator. We have a bitwise operator to check with the bits, okay, bitwise operator. Shift operators is there, okay, this we will not be using in the web development, okay, this is to in the when you are working in a bits, right? So that time if you want to shift, that is actually shift operators. See, actually we have a operators, right? So in the operators, you will get a question such as, what is the difference between logical and bitwise and? So can anyone tell me what is the difference between logical and bitwise and? Anyone?
Because a logical operator returns in Boolean and bitwise returns. Actually, bitwise operator works in bits, means in 0 1 form.
Correct. And what about the logical operator? Logical and?
Logical answer actually find out which is a true statement.
Yes. Okay, I can give you an example. Okay, somebody, Raj is asking, will the PPT can be shared as by the class? See, there is a drive actually. Okay, I will give you the drive in the WhatsApp. All the materials I will be uploading in the drive. Okay, I will in the WhatsApp. I will share you that. Okay. Okay. So now I think since you completed the DSA, I hope you have some good knowledge about how to execute the programs, right? So for example, let's say you have a main method. So you can type main control space, okay, enter. Okay, so we'll get the main method, right? So now I will write this out. Okay, so for example, I will do Okay. See, when I do 4 and 6, I'm getting 4. So why I'm getting 4? Anyone? This is because of the bits, right? So for example, let me take the paint. Okay. So for example, 4 is there, right? So for 4, what is like how we can define like binarily, how we can do it? 4, how we can do? It will be 0, 0,
100.
0, 1, 0, 0, correct? Because this is 1, 2, 4, 6, correct? 4, 8, sorry, yeah. So next is like a 6 we have, right? So 6, how we can define? It will be 0, right? 1, 1, 0, correct? So now this is actually 6 how we written, right? 0, 1, 1, 0, right? 0, 1, 0, 0 is for, okay. So what are we doing? We are doing OR, right? 0 and 0 will be 0, 0 and 1 will be 0, and 1 and 1 will be 1, 0 and 0 will be 0. So the value will be 4, right? So this is actually bit comparison it is doing, okay? This is actually uh, bitwise and, right? So now similarly, what we do, mm, we can compare, right? We can compare like if um, okay. So this is actually what the logical operators, right? So logical and is to just to compare the it is used to compare the variables and all, you can use it, okay. So this is actually logical and. So logical and, if both conditions are true, then this particular block will be executed. So like that we can define, okay. So that is actually a logical and bitwise and, okay. So what we will do, we will put more focus in understanding of the OOPS concepts and other thing, okay. So if you want, I can take you one by one. So like, do you guys want me to explain to you the control statement, or by this time everybody know all of this? Anyone? Else if ladder, switch statement and all? Anyone?
Yeah, familiar. Yes.
Family, right? Because we don't want to spend on this, okay. So okay, now I can ask you a few questions. What is the difference between else if ladder and switch statement? Anyone?
So for the multiple conditions, actually we use ladder if else.
Mm-hmm. Switch
And for,
statement?
like so suppose we have to do a cross check for the three numbers, which one is greater. So at that time we will go for the dangle if else.
Which one is fast and which one is slow?
I think if else.
Okay, see, for example, uh, if else ladder will be there, right? Even if the condition is true, what will happen is it actually check other condition also. For example, when we write a else if ladder, okay, so what we will do, the condition will become true. It will not come out. If you want, you can apply return statements, but usually in if else statement, if the condition is true, it will check other statements also, okay. That is else if ladder. Now, when it comes to the switch statement, if the condition is true, it will come out of the block. Okay. So here, which one is faster? Switch is faster when you compare to else if ladder. Okay. Okay. Then what is the difference between while and do while? Anyone?
The while is for the entry control and do else for the exit control.
Okay. So in while statement, so first the condition will be checked, then the statement. Okay, first the condition, then the statement. Okay, that is while loop. In do while, what will happen? First the statement, then the condition. Okay, that is do while. If the condition is fail, okay, if the condition is fail, the while loop will not execute. But in do while, if the condition is fail, but loop will run for one time. Okay, so that is do while. While in while there is a condition first, then the statement. In do while first the statement, then the condition. Okay. In while loop, if the condition fail, the loop will not get execute. Do while loop, even if the condition fails, but loop will run for one time because first statement will be there, right? That will be get it printed. Okay. Then we have a for statement and for each. Okay, for statement. Okay, first we have to define the initialization condition, increment or decrement, like that. We can declare the for each and all, like for example, if you have any array and all. Okay, so if you want to print it, then you can use the for each. Okay, then we have a break, continue, return in the jump statement. For example, if the loop is there, okay, if you want to break that particular loop, or if you want to skip a condition and continue, so for that we have continue, then we have a return. Okay, so return you can also apply with the methods. Okay, so these are all the control statements. Okay, these are the things since you completed the DSA. Okay, I just don't want to go all of this. Okay, so it's very easy, very basic. Okay, so we will execute from the OOPS concepts. Okay, we'll execute all the programs because for the backend, this is very, very important. Okay, so we'll execute all the things. I will just brush up all the topics before we jump into the thing. Okay, okay. See, guys, whatever the definition I will tell from now, very, very important. Okay, I want everybody to memorize this. Okay, so the first one is object. So object, like what is the difference for an object? So you can tell an entity which having state and behavior is called as object. Okay, an entity that having state and behavior is called as object. Okay, an entity which having state and behavior is called as object. Now, if someone asks you what is entities, like because you are telling an entity which is having state and behavior is called as object. So if someone asks you entity can be living or non-living thing. For example, person is there. Okay, person can be an object, right? So who is actually living thing, right? Person is a living thing. For example, department is there. So department is what? Non-living thing, right? So now, like each object, okay, which having a state, behavior, and identity. So now what will happen? Object is used to store the values, right? You can actually store the values in an object. With the help of object, you can actually execute the methods. Okay, that is behavior. Then is the identity. Each time you create the object, what will happen? For each object, there will be unique ID will be there. Okay, so that is actually identity. I will execute the program and I will show you that. So for now, just understanding the definition of an object. Okay, an entity which having state and behavior is called as an object. An object having three characteristics: state, behavior, and identity. State means with the help of object, you can store the value. Behavior means with the help of object, you can actually, if you want to execute any method, you can do it. That is behavior. Next is identity. Identity is nothing but each time when the program execute, there will be unique ID will be generated for each object. Each time when you create an object, there will be each address will be created. Okay, so this is actually object. So next we have a definition of a class. Okay, a class is a group of objects that having common properties. Okay, a group of objects which having common properties. Now if you want me to give an example, let's say you create a class called as person, right? Now in that person, what we do, we add all the things which related to the person, right? You create a class called as department. Department means department ID, department name, like that we will do, right? That is department. So what is the definition of a class? a group of objects having common properties is called as class. In a class, what you can do, or you can also tell it's a blueprint in which objects are created. Okay, it's a blueprint in which objects are created. In a class, you can have methods, fields, constructors, blocks. Okay, so everything you can have it in a class. Okay, so what we will do, we will execute all the programs. Okay, one by one I will quickly execute. Okay, so that you will understand better. Okay, okay
Sir,
guys,
what
let
is the mean of field here in this class? That class.
which, which one
This field.
fields?
What is the mean of field?
Fields,
Yeah, sir.
fields means variables. Okay, variables,
Okay.
methods, constructors, okay, blocks. You can have class inside another class. Okay, so that is nested class. So that and all, probably next week I will execute the program on the nested class. Okay, then you can also have interfaces and okay. So fields are like variables. Okay, so basically a class can contain what? Variables, right? That is fields. Okay, okay. So now what I did, I just created a class. So now what I will do, let's say you have a method, right? Void run. Okay. So here what we will do, we will actually understand how to access. Okay. Accessibility. That is the next concept, right? Yes, this is the, okay. So let's understand that. Okay. So first what I will do, this is a non-static method. Okay. This is a non-static method. Now let me write a static method. So here I will write void static. Static should come first. Okay, static void run. I will make it as run one. This is run one. Okay, non-static method, static method. Then what I will do, I will type int I is equal to 10. Okay, so this is non-static method. Then I will write a static method. Static j is equal to 20. So like that. So int is missing, right? Yes, int. So we have a non-static variable, static variable, static method, non-static, I mean, non-static method, static method. Okay. Okay, guys, this is very, 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 very important. Okay. So, okay. Now, anyone tell me if I want to access non-static variable and non-static method, how can I access, guys? Anyone?
We need to create object.
Object. Very good. So now how to create object? For example, a is equal to new a, right? So we created an object. Now let's say if I want to call I, what I can do, I can refer the variable, right? So I can do a dot I. Okay. So like this I can access. For example, if I want to access the run, then what I can do, I can do a dot run. Okay, like this. So if you want to execute program, what you can do at the right side, okay, it's you're not getting that. Okay, so you can execute here also. For example, like this main method, right click on that and run as Java application. Okay, so like this you can execute. So now see, if you have a non-static variable and a non-static method, if you want to access in a static block, right? Main method is a static, right? So if you want to access, what we need an object. Okay. Now, if you want to access whether it can be a static variable or static method, okay, it will be a direct access. For example, what I will do, if you want to access j, see, I don't have to call like a dot j. I don't have to call. I can directly call j here, right? So next, if I want to call a static method, so what I can do, run one, I can copy here and I can paste it here. Okay. So non-static variable, non-static method. Okay. Uh, you need a object. Okay. Non-static methods and all direct access. Can anyone tell me what is the reason? Why we have to create an object? Okay, so the answer for this, okay, why we create object is, see, whenever you create any non-static variables, right? So what will happen is the memory will be stored in heap area, okay? But the static and all, okay, this will be in different area, okay? So we will call it as a method area or a class area, okay? So due to that, because this non-static variables and all, it will be stored in the heap area, okay? Because of that, objects are needed, okay? Okay, so this is very, very important, okay? This, especially this diagram, okay? Non-static variable, if you want to access inside the static method, requires object, okay? Non-static method, non-static variable, okay, requires object. Remaining everything are like a direct access only, okay? So this is very, very important. Okay, we have
Sorry, the
excluded this.
table is a bit
Huh.
confusing. Can you go back?
Huh.
So what
See,
you're trying to say is anything non-static, you need an object, and static are the
no,
classes?
no. What I'm telling is non-static variable. If you want to access inside a static method, non-static variable inside a static method requires an object. For example, you have a non-static variable, non-static method, which mean, for example, let's say we have a, this is what? Sorry, this is non-static method, right? For example, I want to access I, right? So what I can do, I can access like this, right? Like this. Directly I can access. I
Yeah.
don't have to create. So that is what I'm explaining. Like non-static variable, non-static method, you don't need object. Non-static variable inside a static. So here or static method, we require an object, right? So this is the what. That is what I have explained. Static variable inside static method, direct access. Static variable inside non-static method. For example, we have a static variable. If you want to access a non-static method, directly you can do. Directly you can access like this. Okay. So like that, only when we access non-static variable and non-static method, if you want to access inside a static method, then we require objects. So others and all direct access. Okay. I just created this particular table for understanding purpose. Okay. Okay.
Hi, whether it is static or non-static method, it still has to go through that static main method only, right? I mean, that is the execution.
Yes, any method if you want to call, we have to call it through main method. Okay, that is very important. Through main method only we are calling. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say if
Ah.
I were to access this instance variables, which are basically non-static, right? Outside the class, I would need an object because that's the connection to the instance variables. But if I were to access the static variables, I could directly call it using class.
Class name. Yes.
Class name, right?
Class name. Yes.
Okay. This is outside the class and not within the class methods.
Yeah, this is only applicable inside the class. Inside the class.
Okay. Yeah.
Not outside. Okay. Inside the class. Correct. Yes. Okay. So we have a constructor. Can anyone tell me what is the rules for the constructor? Anyone? Okay. See, what is actually a constructor? A constructor is like a special type of method. It is also like a method. But whenever you initialize an object, okay, so the method will be called. For example, let's say I will create a method. The constructor. So this is a constructor. Okay. So how different from the method? Okay. So for example, this is a constructor. Then we have a method that is void run. So now this is a method. Okay. So now this is a constructor and this is a method. Now, how it is difference? What is the difference between a constructor and a method? Okay. So now constructor is there, right? constructor name and class name should be same. Okay, so here the method name I have given same, right? So, but for the method, it can be anything. Method name can be anything. But for the constructor, constructor name and class name should be same. Okay, this is a constructor. Now, about the return type. Constructor, you can't give any return type for the constructor. Okay, if you give void, you'll not throw any error, but for constructor, you can't pass any return type. Okay, that is the rule. Constructor can't have any return type. But for the method, you should have a return type. Okay, void, int, string, like that you can have. Okay, so this is a method. So now let's say if you want to call any constructor, right? So what we can do, we can simply create the object. For example, I can do AA is equal to new A. So like that, I can call, right? When I create this particular object, so this particular constructor will be called. Okay, so at A, so I create the object, the default constructor get called, right? So next I have a method. So for the method, if you want to access, you have to call it explicitly. Okay, so you can do a dot run. So like this you have to call. So this is a method. Okay, so you can call it explicitly. Okay, that is the difference. So difference between constructor and method is constructor name and class name should be same. Class name and method name should be same. That is for constructor. For the method, method name can be anything. Okay, that is the first difference. The second difference is constructor should not have any return type. Okay, for the method, you can have a return type. Okay, so constructor can be called implicitly, which means whenever you create the object, that particular constructor will be called. But method, it has to be called explicitly. You have to call the method, then only the method will be invoked. Okay, this is the constructor and this is the method. So in constructor, we have like two types of constructor. Okay, so for example, this is a default constructor. Next, we have like a parameterized constructor. For parameterized constructor, you can pass some parameters. Okay, so like this, you can pass it. This is actually what? Parameterized constructor. Okay. Okay. So any questions in constructor?
So
So
when to use
default
what type
by
of,
yeah, please.
shall I go ahead?
Yes.
Yeah. So when to you use what type of constructors? You mentioned one is like the normal one and the other is parameterized one. So I assume, see, when you have some class variables, that's when the parameterized ones would be used, right?
Okay, let me clarify to you. Okay, see this constructor, for example, if you have any default constructor, right? For example, in real time, what will happen? Let's say when you are working in some project, okay? For example, if there is a button, right? So what we do, we will create that object there, right? So for that object, you can do like you can do click function and all you can write like. So that is actually a default constructor. So then we have a parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor, for example, if you want to store some values, right? If you want to store some values through constructor, you can do it. So we'll execute those programs. Okay. So I will write one program because the next concept is static, right? So that time I will explain to you that. So default constructor, if you want to initialize some values, okay, so that is also possible with the default constructor as well. Yeah, someone is asking any other question you guys are asking? Like two people were asking, right?
Yeah, sir, I just understood. The same question was mine also.
Okay, great. Okay, so is this to the next concept? This is
Is it one
huh,
query? Is
tell
it
me.
compulsory to always have a constructor when designing a class?
Nope. Okay, I will tell you. Okay. See, if you want to store values into a constructor, so what you can do, you can actually, okay, let me write one program. Okay. And also I will clarify to you, you have asked regarding the static variables also, right? So that I will explain to you. Okay. Okay. So now what we will do, we'll try to understand the constructor. Okay, so now I will, instead of a, so what I will do, I will call it as student class. Okay, now for the student, I will create a parameterized constructor like string, sorry, student like this. Okay, I created a constructor. Now what I will do, I will have some variables. Okay, I will write like int roll number. Okay, then string name like this I will do. Okay, now I have to store the values, right? So what I will try to I will pass something like this. Okay, int roll number like this and string name like this I will pass. Now I will try to pass like this, roll number is equal to directly roll number I will pass, then I will pass name is equal to name, name is equal to name. So now I want to print. Okay, we should not write like this. First let me write and I will explain why I'm writing like that. Okay, so I want to print, so for that I will, let me print it like this. Here I will write roll number like this plus roll number. Okay, I want to print the name. Okay, so now what I will do, I will create an object that is student s is equal to new student like this I will pass. Then see, now I have to pass right some value. So for example, I will pass 111. Okay, let's say I will pass some value Amar. Okay, and I will create one more object like this. I will create one more object. I will make it as S1. This I will make it as 222. And let's say I will write one more name like this. Okay, then what I can do, I can do s dot uh, I can do s dot print then s1 dot print. Okay, so now what I did, I created a two objects. Okay, the two object through constructor I am passing. Okay, now I want to print, so for that I am using print, right? So but when I run this program, when I run the program, as you can see, roll number 0 and null I am getting. Can anyone tell me what is the reason I am getting like this? Okay, I'm getting 0 and null instead of
It's not
111.
referencing. It's not
It is not referencing. Okay, so why it is not referring, and why is not referencing means, see here we have a roll number, right? So I have used both local variables, okay, local variables and instance variable. I have used the same name. Okay, so due to that, okay, it's not able to properly like there is a confusion for the compiler, because I told this is the roll number, there is a confusion. Okay, so now you have like two options. So the first option is you can pass this dot like this. When I see the moment when I pass this dot roll number, it is directly referring to the roll number, right? The instance variable. Now I will do like a this dot. Now see, it's referring to the name. So now there is no confusion to the compiler. So now what I will do, when I run the program, as you can see that as you can see, the values I'm able to store it. Okay, so this is how with the constructor you can store the values, right? Okay, now these are all what? Instance variable, correct? So the one we have is the local variable, then we have an instance variable. So the local variable inside a method, if you want to store anything, what you can do, you can use the local variable. Okay, Now, then? Okay, you understand the local variable and you understood the instance variable. But what about the static variable? When we have to use it? Okay. For example, see, I'm actually creating a student project, right? So here roll number for each student, it is different for each student, right? Name also it will be different, right? For each student, at least the surname or something will be different for each student. But what is common for all the student? For what is common? The common
It would
for
be
the student is the maybe a college name, right? Now what I will do, I will write. See, if I write like this, for imagine if I do this string college like this. Okay. Again here also I have to pass like a string college. Okay. Then I have to write like this dot college is equal to college like this. Then what I have to do here, I have to add to print the college. What I can do, I can directly use the college, right? So now let's say, see for example, now the college is same, right? Now for example, let's say I will write IIT like this. Okay, IIT again, once again, once again, once again. Okay. So now if you write like this, now what happened? Let's say you have like 10,000 students, right? Why you have to pass like 10,000 times IIT? Because IIT is common for every student, but you are passing like every time IIT, right? So when an object having a common property, then what we can do, we can define it as a static variable. So what I'm telling is, so instead of IIT like this, if you're writing, what you do, you can remove it. You can remove it like this. Okay. So then what you can do, uh, hmm, okay, you can actually remove here also. It's not needed. Okay. So now instead of doing like writing IT everything, just make it as static here like this, static, okay, is equal to, okay, IIT. That's it. Now what will happen? The static variable will be directly added to this thing. Okay. So now when I execute the program, you can see I get the same output. Okay. So this is actually a static variable. So static variable, if objects having a common property, right? So the common property for all the students or employees, so that you have to, those variables you can actually directly pass like this. Okay. So now when it comes to the memory area, what will happen is, let me show you one diagram so that you will understand. Okay, we don't have a, okay, let me open one website and let me show you that. Okay, see here, this both S1 and S2. Okay, so we have like S1 and S2, right? S1 and S2. Okay, so these two things we have it in the stack area. Okay, stack area, and the values we have here, right? So that is pointing to the heap area because objects will be there, right? So now whatever you have it in the static variable, so that will be stored in the class area. So from the class area directly you are adding in the heap area. Okay, so the connection you do with the stack area. So like that. So objects will be there in the heap area. Okay, static variables will be there in the class area. Very, very important question. Okay. Okay, so this is the static variable. I hope you understand usage of the static variable when we have to use. Okay.
So in during
Hmm.
garbage collection, just to connect it
Hmm.
to that concept, the heap
Okay.
area, heap memory is what gets cleaned up, right? As and when not required, but the static class area will always remain. That is my understanding
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Correct. Because it's an execution area, right?
Okay.
See, I will tell you one example so that you will understand better, especially on that memory area. Okay. See, we have everybody use like mobile phones, right? So in mobile phones, we have like two memories, right? One is ROM and another is RAM, right? So stack is like a RAM only. Okay, it will be there, but ROM will be there, which is your memory card. The object is exactly work like a memory card. Okay, so whenever if the memory card is there, you are able to use it, right? So like that. Okay. So
Okay.
objects are just like a memory card. So when you have a memory card, you can use it. But if it's not there, you are not able to use it, right? So like that. Stack area is like a execution area. So it's like a RAM. It should be there.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So okay. So we'll quickly execute some programs. Okay. So so guys, so what do you know? What do you guys know about inheritance? Anyone? Quickly. Inheritance. Okay. See, inheritance is nothing but one class acquires the properties of another class. Okay, is called as inheritance. One class acquires the property of another class is called as inheritance. So what I will do, this whatever the program I will execute, right? So I will upload in the drive. Okay, they have already shared me in the WhatsApp. Once I completed that the session, you can use it. Okay, so let me type com.example inheritance. Okay. Okay, so let me create a class called as A. Okay, so for example, I will write int I is equal to 10 here. So then I will write void run here. Okay, so I have a variable and I have a method. Okay, so now what I will do, I want to access this, right? Class B. Okay, so whatever the values you have in a class A, right? You wanted in a B. You don't have to copy and you have to paste it here, right? So what we can do, you can use something called as extends. Okay, we can use extends A like this, right? So then what we can do, you can create a main method. You can create a main method. Then what you can do, you can create object of a B is equal to new B. Okay, then what you can do, you can do B dot I and B dot run. Okay, this is okay, this is actually called as inheritance. Okay, so one class acquires the properties of another class is called as inheritance, or child class acquires the property of parent class. So which is the child class? B is the child class of A. So here A is like a father, B is like a son, right? So now here what is happening? Like as a children, you want to access the properties of your father, right? So you are able to access. Okay. This is actually called as inheritance. The definition of inheritance is one class acquires the properties of another class. Okay. Is called as inheritance. Or child class acquires the properties of parent class. Okay. Is called as inheritance. Okay. In inheritance, in Java, three types is possible. Okay, so the current one whatever you are saying, right, this is actually called as single level inheritance. Okay, single level inheritance. Okay, Next, we have something called as multi-level, not multiple. We have something called as multi-level inheritance. So what do you mean by that? For example, let's say we have like a class C here. Class C, okay, extends, class C extends B, okay. Now, here let's say I will write int j is equal to 20, okay. So now let's say we have a main method here. Okay, let me create object of C. Object of C. Okay, so now you see for a B, who is the father? Sorry, for C, who is the father? B. For B, who is father? A, right? So like that. Now I created object of C. What I can do? I can access from C dot I, right? C dot I from the A also I can access and B also I can access, right? So I can do the C dot J, okay, C dot J. So if I run this program, okay, this time I have to run it in C. So here, see, when you're executing, see, B also having main method, C is also having main method. So when you're running, you have to select, I need to run the C's method, okay? When you're running, little careful. So right click, run as Java application. As you can see, as a C, I can access from A and I can access from B. Okay, so basically the relations between C and B is like a son and father. C and A is like a grandfather and grandchildren. Okay, so grandchildren can have the property of both parent and the grandparent, right? Okay, so this is actually called a single level inheritance. Sorry, multi-level inheritance. So earlier, like this is single level, but I added one more, right? So this is actually called as multi-level inheritance. Okay, single level, multi-level. Okay, now we have something called as hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance, both B is also extending A and C also can extend A. Okay, C can also extend A. Now I am getting error, right? You can see C dot J, I am getting error. Can anyone tell me why I am getting error? Anyone? Okay, reason is very simple. See, both B and C, okay, is extending A, right? The relationship between B and A, C and A is like a what? Child and father relationship. But what is the relationship between B and C? What is the relationship, guys? For B and C, A is the father. Now, what is the relationship between B and C? They're siblings, right?
Parent child.
Yeah. No. This is siblings, right? B and C, I'm telling. B and C is like a like
Sibling.
siblings,
Okay.
right? Because both B and C father is A, which mean B and C will become what? Brother. So here when I do C dot J, so basically C is trying to access from J, right? I'm getting an error because okay, if you have like only the parent and child relationship, then only it is possible. Okay, you can inherit only your father or grandfather property. You can't inherit your brother property, right? Brother, do you think brother will give you? No, right? So that is what is exactly is happening. Okay, so single level, multi-level, hierarchical. Okay, this is the three inheritance types we have. But through C++, total 5 is possible. Okay, hybrid is also possible. Okay, in C++. Okay, one more is there, I forgot. Hybrid and I think multiple. Yeah, multiple and hybrid. Both are possible in C++, but not possible in Java. Okay, I will tell you what is the reason. Okay, now the question is, does Java support multiple inheritance? Java support multiple. The answer is you have to tell. See, whenever if interviewer asks you, does Java support multiple inheritance? Okay, does Java support multiple inheritance. If they ask you question, you should not tell like yes or no directly. You have to ask whether with class or whether with interface, like that you have to ask. Okay, so if you tell class, it is not possible. But with interface, multiple inheritance is possible. With the class, not possible. Why? Let me explain to you what is the reason. Okay, see, now imagine we have a two class. Okay, I will comment, so later you can okay, maybe, yeah, fine. Okay, so now let's say we have a class A. Okay, we have a class B, right? Now imagine class A also having run method. Okay, let's imagine class B also having run method. Class B is also having run method like this. Okay, so class A having run method, class B is also having run method. Let's imagine if you are doing class C extends A comma B. You do class C extends A comma B. Now when we create object of C here, when I create object of C, you do the C dot run. Now there is a confusion to the compiler because both A also having run method. Okay, B also having run method. Okay, can I call A method or can I call B method? Okay, so due to the confusion, Java does not allow, okay, multiple inheritance through classes. Okay, now there is a confusion, okay, for the compiler. Okay, so but with interfaces you can, that is different story. Okay, so that I will explain to you during the session of interface. Okay, guys, any questions in inheritance?
Can you show an implementation of constructor in the child class? Because that seems a bit confusing to me when it, inherits the parent class attributes.
Okay, I will come to that. So for that, we need something called as this keyword. This keyword we have to use. Okay, so that is the next concept. I will explain to you. Let's see, what is the next concept? Okay, I will come to that. Okay, so before that, I will explain to you the topic of method overloading and overriding. Guys, okay, so what we understand in the inheritance, one class acquires the properties of another class. Child class acquires the properties of parent class, is called as inheritance. So nodes is there. Okay, so everything whatever I have explained is there. Okay, so here we have like for inheritance and all we have. Okay, one class acquires properties of another class, so it's there. Later you can go through all of this. Okay, so single level, multi-level, hierarchical. Okay, these are the three supported, and we have executed the program. Okay, so regarding that
A
constructor,
question, sir,
tell me.
I do have a question. Previous example, actually, in the previous example, you have shown class A as a public and class B and C as a like
Yes,
normal
yes,
default classes. So it's a
yes.
kind of mandatory rule over there to
Very good, very
access
good
the,
question.
yeah.
Yes, let me explain to you. That. Okay, see, when you have to give a public here. Okay, so even if you remove, it will work, no problem. Okay, the reason I will tell you. Okay, now imagine when you create any class. For example, here. Okay, here, hello dot class. Delete this. Okay, see now I created this class, right? Class hello. But you see there is a, this is small letter and this is capital letter, right? Let's say here if I give public like this, I will give public. Now what I will do, I will try to execute now. Okay, I will try to execute. I will do java c hello.java. See, I will get the error saying hello error class is public, should be declared in a file named hello.java. So basically if you use public, okay, so the file name and class name should be same. So for example, if this is what small letter, right? This is also should be small letter. Whenever if the file name and class name should be same, then only you can write a public. Okay. So that is the concept. For example, here you see I have written class A, right? This is A I have written. So even if I pass public, no problem. If I because this is the file name and this is the class
Can
name.
class B make as a public, class B and C?
No, when you're writing like this, uh, we can't do it. Okay, but if you create a different class, then you can make. Okay, in a same class you can't make, or two classes public. For example, here you can't make like this. You will get error. Okay, so you can have a public in a class, that is also the file name and class name should match, then only you can write. For example,
Suppose sir, if we create class as a private, at that time we will be able to access the class's properties and we
no,
have
no, no, that I will come to you on the access modifier part. So for now, just
okay.
understand the public part. Okay, so what I'm telling is, for example, see, this is a.java have used, class also class A have used. Sometime what will happen, let's say your class name is hello. Okay, now you get the error. It will clearly tell you, rename to hello.java. So it's telling I have to make the class name as hello.java. Okay, so for now you just understand that uh, in a class, okay, you can have one class, you can make it as a public. That is also the file name and class name should be same, then only it will allow us public. Okay, okay, the private and all, please don't we'll go to that level. Okay, so I will explain to you that
So
part.
sir,
Okay.
simply means if
Hmm.
we have a single class at that time, we should have only a single class as a public.
Single class also public, and also make sure class name file name should match.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, so see here also A I have used a.java, class name also class A have used. If you want to use hello, that is also not possible. But in a class, like if you're writing like this, make sure for one class only we can make it as public. Okay, great. Okay, so what we understood from the inheritance is, okay, we understood the definition, we understood the different types, and also I also explained to you multiple inheritance is not possible. Okay, multi-level hierarchical single level is possible. Okay, so hybrid and multiple is not possible. Okay, multiple inheritance is not supported in Java through class. Okay, if interviewer asking directly not supported, don't tell like that. Ask class or interface. If it's class not possible, through interface you can do. We can execute that program when we reach that level of inheritance interface. Okay.
Will interfaces be covered later?
Yes, yes, yes. I will cover everything. Don't worry. I will cover everything. Okay. So we completed object classes. We completed the constructor. Currently we are at inheritance. Okay. So next is method overloading, overriding. Then we can come to the this and super keyword. Then it will be abstract and interface. Probably today I'm not sure. Another few minutes we can spend. Okay. That maybe interface and abstract class. Next class we will see. Okay. Okay. So yeah.
One more quick question. So
Tell me.
in this example that you have given, so
Hmm.
let's say class A is public, you have made it public, and B and C extend class.
Hmm.
These are the child classes, right? So
Hmm.
does that mean when B extends A, B also becomes public?
No, 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 no. It's not like that. It's not like that. Um, Class B will be default actually. Okay, so I will talk about more on this access modifier topic will come. Okay, so that time I will speak more on this part. Okay, so currently till now you understand. So with the class you can apply a public, private, default, and protected. Okay, so each type I will explain to you. Don't worry. Okay, so that I will let me come to that point. Okay, okay. Uh, Okay, so we are at where inheritance I have explained to you. Okay, so can anyone tell me what is the difference between method overloading and overriding? Anyone?
The method calling the same class is, I think, overloading, and same method in calling different class is called overriding.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple implementation of the same method, I think, is method overloading, and overriding is it comes into play in inheritance. So basically, the child class overrides or rewrites the method of the parent class, I think.
Okay. So first one is the method overloading. Method overloading. Methods having same name, okay, but different parameters. So what I'm telling is, for example, I will write void run. Okay. So let's say here I will write maybe okay, void run. And here I will pass int a. Okay. So methods having same name. Okay, this is actually overloading I'm doing. Methods having same name. If you want, I can make it a static also, like this. Okay, so methods having a same name, you can see both methods having run, okay, but different parameters. So here I don't have any parameter, here I have a parameter, okay. So here I will do a dot run. Okay, when I call a dot run, what will happen? At run will be printed, okay. So when I call a dot run, uh, at run will be printed. So when I do a dot run, but if I pass some parameters, let's say I will pass 6. Okay. So now what happened? The other one will be called. You can see that the other one will be called. So methods having same name but different parameters. So here I don't have anything, but here I having a parameters. Okay. So this is actually called as method overloading. Okay. Okay. So there are many things you can understand in method overloading. So the question is, can I overload the method by changing the return type? So what do you think? Anyone? Can I
No.
answer is no. Okay. So what I'm telling is, for example, imagine we have like int a here also, we have int a here also. So what I'm telling is, what if I just pass here, I'm making void, here I will make it as int. Okay, can we achieve it? Not possible. Okay, so by changing the return type, it is not possible. Okay, if you want to achieve the overloading, okay, either number of parameters should be different. Number of parameter, which mean here I don't have anything. Here I have, okay, one parameter. Either number of parameters should be different or data type is different. That is also possible. For example, here one is string and another is integer. Okay, one is string and another is integer. So for example, here I will pass hello. Okay, so when I do a dot run hello, this will be called. When I do a dot run 6, this one will be called. Okay, so overload can be achieved by changing the number of arguments or changing the return type of a argument, but not by changing only the return type of a method. You can't achieve the method overloading. Okay, method overloading. Okay, so we have everything. Some free time, I have given the definition also for method overloading, overriding and other things. Here we have, okay, if a class having multiple methods having same name but different parameters is called as method overloading. Different ways to overload a method: by changing the number of arguments, by changing the return type. Okay, so everything is there, whatever I have explained. So it's there in the PPT. Okay, so please go through once you complete. Okay, okay. So now we understood the overloading, right? So next topic is overriding. Overriding. Okay. So overriding, let me create a class called as E. Okay. So guys, if you want to achieve overriding, right? Overriding, what you need to do is, okay, instead of what I will do, I will create a class called as manager. Okay. So here, let's say I will write int, let's say number, int num, and I will do void work. Okay. So what happened was, okay, see, we have a manager class. Okay. Then let's say it's instead of that, I will write name. Okay. So I have a variable called as name. Then I have a method called as work. Okay. Now, what is overriding means? If you want to override, okay. So the first property is method name should be same, but class should be in inherited relationship. So what I'm telling is, let's say we have a class called as manager, then we have another class called as HR manager. HR manager. HR manager. Okay. So then what I do, I will also do the extends. Extends manager. See, I will how to understand this concept. Okay. See, we have a manager and we have a HR manager. So now imagine HR manager also have a name. HR manager can also work, right? So now let's say you create a main method. You create a main method. Then what you can do, you can create object of HR manager. Okay. So what I can do, I can do HR dot, okay, name I can access, and HR dot work also I can do. HR dot work also I can do. Work also I can access. Okay. So see, when we use this method HR manager, right? Yeah, execute this. Yes. Okay. So what happened was you created a manager method. Okay. Then HR manager method was there, which is subclass of the manager. Now imagine you got a situation. The working style of manager is different. The working style of HR manager is different, right? But so that time what you need to do? HR manager also should have the work, right? So instead of this method, whatever the method I write in the HR manager, that has to execute, correct? So if you want to achieve now for example, we have a work method in the manager. So at work, okay, this is getting invoked. But if you have a same method here, let's imagine, okay. So okay, now what will happen instead of this method? Okay, this method will be invoked. Okay, if I run this program, you can see HR at work. So instead of this, okay, HR at work is invoking. Okay, this is very, very important because sometime what will happen, what you did, you identify the entities, and what you did is you return name and everything. But the working style of a manager is different, and the working style of manager is HR manager is different. Now, whenever if HR manager is working, okay, his work has to invoke, not the manager work. So that time it will be very, very useful. So if you want to override, what all the properties we have to use. So the method name should be same. So here also having work, here also having work method. For example, if I having work1 here, now this I can't call it as what? Method overriding. This I can call it as overloading because if I call work1, one method will be invoked. If I call work, other method will be invoked, right? So this is actually what? Overloading. But if you want to override, method should have the same name. Okay, so work and work methods having same name. Okay, and also same parameter also, which mean, let's say here also, let's say int a is there. Okay, this should be there, and here also int a should be there. Okay, so then only override will work. Okay, then only the override will work. So okay, so HR at work. Okay, so that is overriding. Methods having same name, but it should be in a inherited class. Okay, so this is overriding. So this is very, very important because sometime you create a manager entity and all, but there will be certain subclass. So the each subclass, you know, different functionalities will be there for each subclass, right? So what will happen? It will be keep on overriding. Okay, so this is actually overriding. So any questions in overloading and overriding?
So is it important to achieve the overriding concept? You must have an inheritance concept.
Yeah, it should be there because then only the this overriding should happen. Okay, so if it is not there, then it will become overload. Okay, so to achieve the overriding, it should be in a inherited concept. Then only overriding will happen. Okay. 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 So we'll understand the this and super keyword. Okay. This is the last concept for today. So, okay.
How is a package different from a class? Concept of package?
See, packages are nothing but folders. Okay, so each time, for example, com.example I have created, right? So now why we create our packages? Because of two reasons. The one reason is, for example, we have like com.example, we have a class A, right? Com.example, like that I created one more folder, and I also created A. In a same package, it is not possible to create same class name. For example, class A is already there. If I try to create A here one more time, okay, I will get error. I will get error saying type A will already exist. Okay, so we will create the packages to avoid the naming collision. Okay, so that is the first property. The second property of the packages are like what will happen is when you are working in a real time, imagine you need to work like let's say you have like 1,000 classes. Now what we do on a each class, each package when we create, okay, so for example services are there, okay, we will keep in one package. Controllers are there, we will keep in one package. Okay, like that. Let's say database connection something is there, we will keep in different package, like that. Now whenever you want to change something, right, let's say you create it is just like we use the mobile phone, right? Let's say you want to play a song, specific song. What we do? We actually, if you create multiple folders, it is easy for you, right? For example, you listen multiple language songs. In one folder, you put maybe a Telugu songs, Kannada songs, Hindi songs, right? So like that, you put it. So or else you mix everything. Okay, you have Kannada songs, English songs, Hindi songs. Now, if you want to change something or if you want to play something, how you will search it? Not possible, right? So same thing, we have our packages, right? So whenever you create a packages, so you go and check, it will actually create a packages internally. See, so first is what com package it will create. So first the com package it created. When I do com dot example, first com created, example package created. So under example, you see the inheritance one package is there. Okay, methods one package, this key one package, like that. It is nothing but a folder like that. Okay, so
Okay.
class is different. You already know. I have explained the
Right.
difference.
Right.
Okay, okay.
So that
Hmm.
means the classes
Hmm.
between packages can also
Hmm.
connect with each other, right? Or they're all working in
You
isolation.
can do, but for that, what we do, I will come to access modifier concept. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
for example, public means anywhere you can access. For example, here, let's say you make one class as public, you can access in outside of the packages also. For example, if you define it as private, you are not able to do. Okay. So that is the reason you can make a class as public. So in that only that class you can access whatever you want to access. Outside the packages is also not also possible. Okay,
Understood. Understood.
so like that. Okay, okay, okay. So just give me a few minutes. I will just cover this keyword. Okay, so one usage you already know, that is this keyword I have used, right? This keyword I have used here. Okay, so this keyword can be used with uh instance variable. Okay, instance variable you can use like that. Whenever you do this dot roll number, that will pointing to this one, this dot name, like this you can use it. Okay, this is with the uh, this variable. Okay, so also you can actually use the this keyword with methods also. For example, if I want to define a method, for example, int I is equal to sorry, I will write a method void run. Okay, at run. Okay, so like this I can write, and let's say I will write one more method called as run one. Okay, I have a run method and I have a run one method. So now I want to call from run method to run one method. Okay, so what I can do this dot, okay, run one, or sorry, run, like that. So I can use this keyword and I can do run. Now what will happen? Run one method will call the run method. So I can create object of A like this, and A dot you do run one. You do run one. Now, now you are calling what? You are calling the run one. Run one is calling the run method. So when you run the program, as you can see, you will get both output of run and run one. Okay, but even if you remove this, if you directly call, it will accept it will not like it is not at all acceptable. Still you can call it, but what I'm telling you, if you don't add, the compiler is the one which actually by default attach it. If you, even if you forget also, what will happen, this keyword will attach, okay, by the compiler. Okay, but it is recommended to use the this keyword like this. Okay, always you can use. Okay, so this keyword you can use to call the current class variable, current class methods. Okay, and finally the constructors. For example, let's say you have two constructor. Okay, for example, say this is the default constructor. Let's say you have one more constructor here, one more constructor. This is int a. Okay, now see, when you create an object, right? So if you run this one, if you run, now what happened was, wait a minute, I will, okay, let's remove this one. Okay, guys, see what I did, I just created an object. I just created the object. Now what happened, when I create the object, what will happen? Default constructor will be called, right? Now let's say you want to call from one constructor to another constructor, you have to call. So how you can call? So for example, you have to call from default constructor to parameterized constructor. How you can do it means, you can call this, you pass some variable. For example, let's say you pass 5. Okay, now if you run, Now if you run, what happened? See, it's calling two constructor. A also it is calling, A1 is also calling. So this dot phi I am passing, this dot phi I am passing. So this constructor is invoked. Okay, you can call from, now what happened, default constructor to parameterized constructor you are calling. You can also call, like this. Okay, and you put some number. Now whenever I pass A6, right, what will happen? This particular parameterized constructor will be invoked, right? Now since you have called this like that, this will also call default constructor also. Okay, see, both are getting called. So from default to parameterized or parameterized to default. So you can call it like this. Okay, so this can be used to call current class. Okay, so always remember current class, instance variable, current class, methods, current class, constructor, methods and variables. Okay, that is the usage of this keyword. Any questions? Okay, so we have understood that this keyword. Okay, so next is super keyword. Okay, now so this super key is there, right? This always call parent class, so it has to, you can use like a outside class also you can call. Okay, so how, let me show you. uh, okay, so for example we have like void print. Okay, okay, so I have one instance variable and one method. Okay, so now I will create one more class, that is class b extends a. I will call class b extends a like this. So now let's say what I can do, here. And one more thing, see, this super keyword is there, right? You can't use in the static variable. Even this keyword also, this keyword and super keyword, it is not possible to use in the static methods. In non-static methods, you can use. So what I'm telling is, for example, string color, I will make it as white. Okay. So, okay, I will call like this. Let's say I will copy this and I will paste it here. I'll paste it here. This is black. Okay, so having white, having black. Let's say I have a print method. Okay, this is B, like this. Okay, now what I will do, okay, let's do something like this. Like this. Here I want to print color. I want to print color. Then I want to, okay, I want to print the color, right? Color I'm passing. Now I will create object of B. I'll create object of B. Then I do what? B dot, oh, I have to call the method, right? Okay, just a b dot print, e dot print. Now when I run this, now what happened? Black is getting printed, right? So you can see black is getting printed because color I am printing here. Now let's say you want to print white also. Okay, so in the subclass you want to print. Then what you can do? You can do super dot color. When you do super dot color, now what will happen? The parent class, okay, for B, who is parent? A is the parent. So now what will happen when I run the program? See, you are getting black, white. Both you are able to access. Okay. Color, super dot color. Uh, See, it always call immediate superclass. Now, what do you mean by immediate parent class? So for A, you have B, right? Then for B, let's say you have C. There also, if you have color, if you do super dot color means it will give you the B class. Okay, for B is the immediate superclass for C. So immediately, whatever the superclass you have, so if you have that variable, you are able to get it. Okay, so this means always refer inside the class, always inside the existing class. Super means always refer to when you especially you should have a inherited relationship. Okay, similarly you do super dot print. Now this also you can call, what I'm telling is you can call super dot print, like this you can call. Now what will happen if you do see control and click that, it will take you to this one. Okay, so now if I run, you can see that print A is also getting printed. See, print A is this one. So I do super dot color like this. Okay, so super can be used to call parent class methods, parent class variable. You can actually call uh, constructors also. Okay, for example, let me create A. Okay, like this I will call. Then I will have like A, let's say int, like this I will do. Oh, I'm getting error. So there is one super keyword. Okay, this program we executed parent class method to parent class constructor. Okay. Uh, okay, so I'll call the constructor at A. This is the default, and this one is the parameterized. So here I will pass int A like this. So now I created object of B, right? Let's see. Like I'm not calling anything. I just have a B here, right? So let's see what will happen now. I will run the program. and at A is getting printed. So default is automatically getting printed. Okay. So default A. Okay. So now I just created a subclass, and in subclass I created, right? So now what I wanted is, let's say I create B also here. Let's say I will create object of, the constructor of B. Okay. I will write at B. Okay. So now I will run this program. See, both when we have like a default parameters, we have A, then we have a B. So by default, both are coming. Okay. But let's say you have a parameterized constructor in a parent class, then you have to call that also. So that time what you do super, then you do pass some, okay, like this. And if you pass super 6 like this, okay, some number, this will also get invoked. Okay. At A, at para A like that, I will do parameter is the right. Para A I will do. So I will run it. See, at para A and B is also getting invoked. Okay, super 6 I called, this is getting invoked. Okay, so superclass is used to superclass methods, constructors, variables. Okay, and we have this keyword. This keyword can be used to current class, constructor, method. Okay. We have a FAQs, but time is very up today. Okay, so we'll do it in the next session. That FAQs and all, I will just will solve some questions. Okay, don't worry. Next session we will solve many questions. Okay, guys, any questions in today class? Feel free to ask. Any questions? Okay, I'm glad that some of you are like asking questions and very interactive. Please, whatever is there in your mind, always you can feel free to ask, so that we can keep this session very interactive, so that everybody can communicate and everybody can speak. Okay, trust me, the classes will be very interesting. Okay, still we are at oops, right? So when we start the restful services, when we start that, right, so it will be more interesting. Okay, so we will be building the project, then we will try to understand. And one more thing, when you come to the next session, okay, so all the programs I have executed, okay, which is already there, okay, this keyword, super keyword, okay, inheritance, okay, multi-level inheritance, everything, constructors and everything. Okay, please execute those programs, understand each and everything, how this keyword will work, super keyword will work, what is inheritance, how many types we have, okay, properties, what is method overloading, what is method overriding. Okay, so like that, try to create variables, try to access it, try to create subclass, try to access it. Okay, so like that you do. Be confident before you start the backend part, because Spring Boot we will be using the you know object oriented programming only. Oops concept, if you understood, right, it will be more easy for you to understand uh, the restful services and the project and other things. Okay, so please execute the programs. Okay, so whatever the doubts you have, so next week when we start this session, we will work on that FAQ sessions as well. Okay, so I know some of you are like kind of a beginners, so what I will do, I will do more slow, I will go little slow, and also we will try to execute the programs, even tiny minute details also. Okay, we'll try to execute, we'll try to understand, then we will do proceed. Okay, so if you felt I'm going little fast, I will go little slow from the next session. Okay, because last batch I already had the experienced developers, I went little fast. That's why I created many materials. Okay. So some of you are like beginners. Okay, I can understand that. Don't worry. I will go more slow, and we'll try to understand the each and every concept. Okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, or else we'll close it up. So we'll start from the next
So,
week. Okay. So next
which
week.
which ID do
Tell
you
me.
recommend to start with? Is
Ah,
it Eclipse or IntelliJ?
So my recommendation, see, at the beginner level, okay, if you're very beginner, please
Mm.
go with this Eclipse, because debugging is very easy here. Okay, so next even in RESTful services also, I will show you the debug part can be a little basic. Okay, it's easy. And also I will put the breakpoints, and I will explain to you. Both you will use. Okay, so both get familiar. But nowadays what is happening, so most of the companies are migrating to IntelliJ, because IntelliJ is little very light, yeah, very light, because it is just like a notepad. But Eclipse, you see, little bit of hang also it was happening in between. Small programs are fine. It will execute aram say no problem and everything, and it's also pretty basic also. But microservices are there. Okay, so when we start the microservices, I will start 5 servers. Okay, then what will happen? The Eclipse, it will not handle the load itself. It will fail like anything. But if you use the IntelliJ, no, it will go very flawless. I think the memory usage of the CPU. Okay, I think IntelliJ is very less. I guess it's very lightweight. Okay, it's just like a notepad. It will go, but uh, in but Eclipse is little lightweight. Small single project if you run, it will work. But heavy load if you are putting like 4 5 projects if you are running, it is failing. Okay, so like that, halfway, just like me, how I do, halfway you can use Eclipse, halfway you can use IntelliJ, so that in your company, whatever they use, whether it can be Eclipse or IntelliJ, you will be very familiar with the both. Okay. Okay. So I think, uh, okay. So don't worry, we'll go a little slow also. Okay. So next session, I will start with interfaces, abstract class, polymorphism. Then we will continue, and also we'll solve some of the FAQs. Today's time is very up. Okay, so we'll catch up next week and we will continue. Okay, so have a nice day, guys, and take care. If any questions is there when you're executing, or if something, please feel free to ask in the session, in the next session. Okay, so as you know, next week we'll be starting our class on the Saturday, same time, Saturday Sunday. Okay. Okay, so bye for now, and take care, all of you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I will upload the materials. Don't worry. I will send in the WhatsApp. Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.